let's talk about it. Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the European Super League. I have the statement here from UEFA. If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and read some parts of it. I don't want to put you guys through this whole thing. I'm sure by now all of you guys have heard, have read it, have watched some sort of analysis about it. Chris is like, I can't believe this is happening. Trust me, my brother. You're not the only one. You're not the only one. So UEFA goes on and says UEFA, the English Football Association, and the Premier League, the Royal Spanish Football Federation, and La Liga, and the Italian. They basically named all of the major leagues, and they said that they are planning. They're basically addressing the plan for the Super League, and I find it funny how condescending UEFA is in this part because they call it the so-called Super League. And then they go on to say, if this were to happen, we wish to reiterate that we, UEFA, and then they name all those federations, but also FIFA, they bring FIFA into this, and they say, and all of our member associations will remain united in efforts to stop this cynical project, a project that is founded on the self-interest of a few clubs at a time when society needs solidarity more than ever. I'm going to skim through right here, and then it basically ends with this. It says, this persistent self-interest of a few has been going on for far too long. Enough is enough. That's what UEFA had to say, and then a bunch of teams, of course, followed up with their own statements, both teams that are participating in the Super League and teams that are not participating in the Super League. Chris, as a fan of one of the teams that is participating in the Super League, how do you feel? How do you feel about this? Because I don't know if there's mixed emotions. Maybe you just have one emotion, but I want to hear it from a fan. Chris, how do you feel about this?
So, in all honesty, the first thing that took over me was dread, because I just thought, okay, well, we're gonna get banned for this. We just served the transfer ban, so
Oh
I
my God,
know
yeah.
we're gonna get hit over the head for this too. And it's like we just made a magical run in the Champions League, probably for nothing. We just went on this great run the rest of the season, and then the main highlight was beating Porto, getting to the semifinal, and and that tie against Real Madrid that probably won't happen at this point. And it's a shock, man. I'm still processing it because there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I could understand the club's point of view in which they say, "Oh, we bring in more than these so-called other clubs in the champion competition don't bring in nearly enough revenue that these 12 clubs do." And I understand that point. It's just so tough to make that point during the pandemic where so many people are struggling. It's like, man, it's nuts. And the reports coming out of this hour, it's amazing. You hear Florentino Perez make a statement in which he's saying these 12 clubs are binded. They've essentially signed documentation already. So I don't know if they're backing down. And there's also talk that two clubs are already starting to crack and wanting to pull out of this. And they don't know. They're not saying who, but it's already starting to falter. And it's like, man, if it doesn't, it's the biggest game of chicken the game of football has ever seen. It maybe any sport. It was an amazing day. I came here today prepared to talk about Chelsea and an amazing triumphant win against Pep Guardiola's team and what that can mean for our fortunes in the Champions League and how we're the informed team and how nobody wants to face us. And that just went all out the window. So honestly, I'm stunned, but I'm more sad than anything because I know that this isn't going to turn out well. It just isn't. Whether the team, if the teams get what they want and they get more money in the end, how does it help us? You've seen me on these podcasts with you. Every single time I wear a Chelsea jersey. Today I couldn't. So that says it all as a fan. I hope they're working in my best interest in the best interest of the fans for more money, but how much money is enough? I mean, man, they're getting millions.
these are millionaires involved in this, billionaires, multi-billionaires that are involved in this. So like you said, how much more do they want? When is enough? When do we have to draw the line? When are we going to say, all right, this is it, no more? And of course, we definitely appreciate your perspective because it's from a fan. It's a very genuine and a very true feeling that you have. And I feel like this is needed right now because a lot of things have been talked about these last 24, 48 hours. Many things. But the one thing that I have not heard much from or much about are the fans. Dude, you make a big part of Chelsea. I make a big part of Barcelona. All these millions of people make a big part of these clubs. And to basically say, all right, well, we're not going to play Champions League anymore, or we don't want to be a part of any of those competitions. We're going to make our own league. Then, I mean, it does kind of hurt. But I'll tell you this, Chris. I'll tell you this. I don't love the idea, but I also don't hate it. I guess it could be because I've kind of known about this. I haven't warmed up to it, but I've braced myself for impact for like 6 years now. I've heard about this for 6 years. I remember being in high school talking to my Spanish teacher about a potential Super League. Of course, in a joking manner, like, I don't know if it's ever going to happen. We might never live to see it, but it's happening. And again, I don't hate the idea. I don't, because think about the Champions League. How was that born? It's the Champions League. It says it in the name. You have to be a champion to play. It's an exclusive way of getting in. But of course, there is a way to get in. You can win your league title and you're in, but still, it's exclusive. Same thing with the Premier League. The big teams wanted to part ways with the bottom feeders, and they created the Premier League. And that's how it's been going on. So, of course, right now it hurts. We're stunned. We don't know what's going on. But it could be for the better for all we know. Or maybe this was just a stunt and nothing happens. Like you said, there's so much that could happen. But Chris, let me ask you this. If there's anything positive that you can see from this Super League, what is it? What do you think a pro can be from this idea?
Wow. What they're saying is they have a lot of fans all over the world. They want to satisfy those fans, like Real Madrid versus AC Milan, Barcelona versus Manchester United much more frequently than maybe once a year. And they'll serve, we can actually see those matches. Right now, we try to go watch a match like that. Dude, we gotta give up an arm and a leg. There's no way we're gonna watch a match like that. Like it's a very exclusive. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be 50, 60,000 people, but it's very hard to get a ticket for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess we can watch more people get to watch more matches. And look, think about it like this, and it struck a chord with me. Real Madrid and Barcelona can't afford to buy players right now. Think about that. Real Madrid and Barcelona, the two giants of football. The pandemic hit everybody. So I understand their point. They're trying to survive. Florentino Perez is saying, so 2024, by the time the new Champions League format kicks in, we might not make it. They're funding a stadium. They didn't know this was going to happen. I get that. And I guess that could be a positive. These 12 teams are going to benefit. But I don't know, man. It's just really hard to see. It's really hard to pick out a silver lining in this because it's just so ugly. It's just so ugly, and you know it. Like,
yeah,
it's tough to accept.
It is, and that's funny because in my notes I have the pros, and literally what you said. That's it. That's all I have in my notes. Now the cons, or there are many, but I decided to pick one, and I know. It's pretty much just based on like my personality and what I am passionate about. I'm passionate about the history of the game. I enjoy old school Fútbol, soccer, football, whatever you want to call it. So in this tournament, you're going to have a lot of exclusions. And we're not going to have many feel-good stories. We don't have that many feel-good stories in the Champions League as it is. So, there's not going to be any Cinderella stories in this Super League. Let's not get it twisted. Real Madrid can never be a Cinderella story. Barcelona can never be a Cinderella story, okay? Let's address that. That's no. So we won't see many of those in the Super League. And also, what happens to teams that maybe haven't been very relevant in the European platforms in the last 20 years, but in the 70s and the 80s and in the 90s, they gained a lot of success. I'm talking about Ajax, I'm talking about Marseille, I'm talking about Dortmund, even though the Bundesliga teams didn't want to participate in this, neither did the French league teams. But like Ajax, what's going to happen? I mean, these guys have a pedigree in Europe. They have more of a pedigree than Atletico Madrid, Manchester City, Tottenham, Arsenal. Where's their spot? Ajax is a part of the elite of Europe. Look at the big teams in Europe. Look at Barcelona. They have Frenkie de Jong. Look at Manchester United. They have Donny van de Beek. Look at Juventus. They have Matthijs de Ligt. All of the and you can go back in history, you can see all of these players. Just because their team, the 11 that they present in these games, isn't quote unquote elite, doesn't mean that they haven't produced ridiculously talented players throughout the years. And they've won their fair share of Champions Leagues too. So where are they? They're elite.
Yeah.
And
well, they have 3 more spots open still. They may join. Who knows? I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens, man.
I don't think so. I don't think they're joining
maybe
that statement.
Tomorrow, maybe there might be 10 teams.
Well, maybe by Friday.
It's tough. I mean, they said players can't play for their national teams, and they can't play from the domestic leagues. I mean, it's tough. That's the death sentence.
And again, this speaks about the exclusions that I was talking about, because it's not just the teams. Now you're talking about the players that can't. Imagine Messi not being able to play the Copa America this summer. Imagine Cristiano Ronaldo not being able to play the Euro, trying to defend the title with Portugal. I mean, you think Cristiano's not going to do anything about it? And I'm genuinely surprised that Ronaldo and Messi and these guys haven't said anything about it. They haven't said. I mean, they probably have some hush money for sure, but dude, come on. Like, these guys are the faces of the game. They haven't said a thing.
Yeah, it's tough. You can't, I mean, I heard Gary Neville said something like that. Like, it's just speak against your club type stuff, but it's tough. You're gonna insult your employer. There's no going back.
Hey, but if there are 2 people that can get away with that, well, 3.
Oh, yeah,
Stone Cold Steve Austin, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Lionel Messi. Those are the 3 people that can get away with that.
That's true.
And going back a little bit to what I was reading at the beginning of this segment about UEFA's statement. Honestly, I read into it a little bit, maybe too much. And I just feel like UEFA, a little bit hypocritical with all of this, because I know that if this tournament was called the UEFA Super League, they would be so happy, because ultimately what they want is a piece of the pie, and they don't have a piece of the pie. That's what they want.
Yeah, and that's Perez's rebuttals as well. That's the thing, man. It's so tough to know truly where to stand on this, because like I said, I do feel sad as a fan. We're giving, I know we're going to give up a lot to taking the stand with everybody, with all the other clubs, but Perez said, how do we know LeBron James's salary by game, and we don't know the UEFA president's salary? Every time we look up under the last 10 years, how many times have we heard about sanctions against people who were elected in UEFA? Every year. So how do we know? I mean, dude, these are the most powerful men at the most powerful clubs. Yeah. And they're standing on 10 toes saying, they're not kicking us out of the Champions League, and we're doing this freaking league.
Yeah. Ballsy.
Let's see.
Ballsy.
It's a big game.
And
Speaking
also,
of chicken,
yeah, of course, of course. And I'm glad you brought this up because I wanted to ask you: do you think Chelsea, Manchester City, Real Madrid are going to get kicked out of this season's Champions League, or will they just play out the remainder of this season?
I, the rumor is that we're done. The rumor is Chelsea, Real Madrid, and Man City are all out. Although that's what I heard today throughout. I mean, you never know. I sit here again in disbelief that UEFA would throw away those 5 remaining games because that's money.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea, Real Madrid, two legs. That's money. Man City, PSG, money, and that final,
always
dude,
money.
I can't. Yeah, I can't see them saying, "Yeah, let's all throw it away." I don't. And then by default, PSG champions without a game. I don't see it. And they also, if they do that, they have to have a discussion with their broadcasters.
Yeah.
How do you pay back that money? Those 3 teams are out.
Yeah, there's so much in play, so many elements, so many moving factors. You can't just throw it out the window and start brand new next season. There's so much that goes into this that you
I just can't see it.
No, I don't see it either. I feel like by Thursday, UEFA's going to be like, all right, well, listen, we acted a little bit too harsh. We're going to let them play it out. Well, of course, because your pockets are going to be full by May, whenever this Champions League final is going to be played, like the 22nd or the 28th, something like that. Wow. All right. Well, anything else you want to add about this Super League? Any final thoughts before we move on?
Man, I mean, it's amazing. That was one of the most amazing moments in soccer, and not one ball was kicked.
Yeah.
So that was nuts.
Yeah. It was, man. It was, and I think this kind of shows the power of the game. A ball doesn't have to be kicked for the world to completely stop. But yeah, also really quick, I want to make a quick point before we move on to Jose Mourinho. I feel like this league isn't called the European Super League for one reason and one reason only, because once it starts, it's not just going to be a European Super League. We're going to have teams from the MLS. We're going to have teams from Argentina, from Brazil, from Qatar, from Japan. It's going to be a world league. It's going to be a global league. That's why they have refrained from calling it the European Super League, because it's not. They would be lying if they said it was a European Super League. It's going to be a global one, man, and there's going to be games all over the place. We might see Real Madrid at Red Bull Arena, or at MetLife, or at Yankee Stadium, or at Soldier Field. Frequently, not just once every 6-7 years. We might see them very often. So, yeah, globalizing the game, that's been the trend for the last few decades, I would say. But yeah, that's it. Those are our thoughts on the Super League. Let us know what you think. You can tweet at us at Total Foot Club, and of course on Instagram, send us DMs or comment on our posts. We would love to get some interaction and read your comments. That would be pretty cool.